Although many people don't realize it, textbooks have always been biased depending on who wrote them and from where the author is from. We're here to talk about how biased the Chinese Revolution was in our textbooks and what the actual facts were. Our first example of a biased opinion is how the United States sided with the nationalists during the Chinese Civil War. As you probably already know, Americans were anti-communists during this time. Their obvious ally was going to be the nationalists. Even now, this relationship can easily influence any harsh opinions, comments, and most importantly, facts. In the textbook, the anti-communist vocabulary is plentiful. Words such as occupy, seize, conquer, and brutal are used regularly. Each one of them is commenting on the ideas or actions of the Chinese Communist Party, and not every single one of them is true. Another example is that the United States believed that Communist China and Soviet Russia were working together to conquer the world and convert the governments to communism. In actuality, the relationship between the two countries was shaky at best. After World War II, Russia and China signed a treaty of friendship and alliance, but Stalin gave barely any Soviet support during the ongoing Chinese Civil War. In 1953, Stalin died, and Khrushchev came to power in the Soviet Union. During this time, Mao was still in charge of China, and he greatly disagreed with Khrushchev's ideas of communism. He didn't believe in a dictatorship role within a communist government and continued to postpone the development of nuclear weapons with China in order to create a non-violent communist society. Mao thought that Khrushchev was weak for having these ideas. The two parties had completely different ideologies. The relationship between the two countries was finally so bad that a compromise needed to be reached. The Moscow Conference was called in order to meet this, and something like a truce was created to keep peace. In the end, the textbook oversimplified the relationship between China and the Soviet Union, and classified them as allies in hopes of taking over the world, when in fact it was the opposite. After Stalin's death, everything turned sour and eventually fell apart. Although there is only a short section on this topic, the textbook says that communistic countries controlled over North Korea. This is yet another biased statement. Since the Korean War, China has been North Korea's #1 ally. Chinese troops backed up North Korea when they were invaded and needed support. Since then, China has always been there for economic and political support. As a communist country, China was there to help secure the spread of communism, but never desired to dominate North Korea. With the usage of the word occupy instead of a more positive one, the textbook made China look bad. The textbook that we used was McDougall-Little, World History Patterns of Interaction, one with multiple authors and multiple sources. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem like it was enough. Our first author is Roger B. Beck, a professor at Eastern Illinois University. Professionally, he's more into African history than any other subject. Up next is Philip Naylor from Marquette University. He teaches the Western Civilization program, and his books include the histories of Algeria and France. Another author is Linda Black. She is a social studies professor at Texas University. The last two are reported as authors of many history textbooks, but there is no specific information on their education. If we had to give a letter grade for accuracy on this section of the textbook, it would get a B. Most of the facts are correct. They are just seen through a lens and turn out biased in the end.